Welcome to the Comedy Here Often podcast. I'm your host, Kevy. This week on the show are my guests, Gina Harms and Rachel Schaefer. Do you guys like going to weddings?
I do.
Yeah. But I always walk away from it feeling so embarrassed because I'm like,
Why?
I've only gone to open bar weddings.
What do you do at wed? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She stands up when they say, "Speak now or forever hold your peace."
You're like, just kidding, psych. Carry on.
I show up wasted because I assume it won't be an open bar.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a pre-drink for weddings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only been to like 2 weddings.
Yeah. It's expensive to go to weddings.
Yeah.
Because you have to have good clothing. You have to buy a gift, probably.
Yeah.
It's far away sometimes.
Yeah.
And then depends on, and they're long.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like the ceremony part.
Ugh, come on. Now I understand why you interrupt it. And you're like, this is boring.
You gotta, yeah. You guys never should have dated in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're here
In fact,
today.
I advised her not to talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't know how this worked out this way. Like, what if your job is you had to work weddings? That's such a long emotional commitment all the time. If you're doing that like 5 days a week,
Yeah.
I would hate that.
Also, I cry.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do
Oh
you?
my God. I cry at everything all the time.
Like commercials, where there's like a family that looks happy with each other, that kind of thing.
Yeah, a big one for me is like award shows when people make
Really?
speeches. Every single
Never.
speech.
Really?
It's people
Never.
achieving their lifelong dreams.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just like, oh my God, I'm
Yeah.
so happy for
Okay,
you.
I guess I kind of see that because I never cried award shows, but for stuff like X Factor or
yeah.
American
Yes.
Idol at the I only like watching the audition episodes.
Oh, same.
Oh, yeah.
When-
There
I like
was-
seeing
yeah.
people that suck more than talented people.
No,
Yeah.
I love watching people just achieving their dreams.
I want to see the train wrecks. I'm here for the train. I'm here
That's
for
also
the
fair.
William Hungs of the world.
That's so true.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. I don't know. I will oddly there'll be like an action movie that has like one moment between like a father and a son, and I'll lose it there.
Oh, yeah.
you
That's
know,
big.
it's personal, I guess. I don't know, but yeah. Okay, so do you guys like? Will you make sure you see award shows? Like,
I used to love them. I would book the day off work.
really?
What?
That's such commitment.
That's very Gina though. That's so on
Really?
brand for you.
I worked at a movie theater and I would like book off the Oscars and the Golden Globes. And
Oh,
I used to try and
you
see
love
everything.
movies.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I don't watch them really anymore. Like I don't go out of my way to watch them.
Yeah.
I'll watch the highlights. Like if
Yeah.
because you'll
Yeah.
hear about stuff that happens, or if there's somebody I like that won an award and I know their speech will have been funny, then I'll watch
Yes.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because I almost never agree with the outcome of anything.
Yeah.
That now I'm like done with it in a way.
Yeah, that's why I kind of like, as I've grown up, I've just been like, well, it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't
Yeah.
the movie that I liked the best.
Yeah.
We're too
Yeah.
bitter and jaded for it now.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I like when at the Oscars, Matt Stone and Trey Parker dressed like J-Lo, and they both wore like
Oh.
gowns.
Yes.
Was that this year?
This is
No,
like
so
10,
long ago.
20 years
Oh.
ago or something like that. But then I like somebody brought it up recently. They're like, yeah, that's crazy you did that. And they're like, yeah, and we were on acid too. Like,
Cool.
I like how they've just been like grandfathered into like no one's offended by them now. Like, it doesn't matter
true.
what they do. And they also write and make their show like the day before it comes out too.
That's
Like, there's
so
a
insane.
documentary on them called 24 Hours to Airtime or something, and it shows them make an episode and like wing it like crazy, and like,
Oh my God.
yeah.
That's insane.
They're so talented, but they just have it so reeled in how they do make an episode. And there's a guy who's just sitting there like waiting for the episode so he can make all the music and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That guy
true.
like hates his
Yeah,
life. He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you guys get
It's like, I gotta get a job at a wedding. Be less pressure. Yeah.
Everybody's wasted. Nobody cares. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true.
So you used to work in a movie theater?
Yeah.
Same.
Really? So
Yeah.
did I.
No.
God.
Was
Yeah.
it all Cineplexes?
Mine was when I was a teenager. I worked at a discount movie theater, and it was the worst, craziest, scariest job ever.
Oh.
Yeah, like there's a dead body in the dumpster one time and
No.
stuff. Yeah,
Fuck.
I've
That's
still
not
got
what
on
you
here quite
want.
a few times, but usually it's my favorite. Listen, Lauren, I love a good corpse. You know this about me. Find a new corpse. No, but it usually kicks off people's stories because they'll usually be like, "Do you have any bad day job stories?" And they're like, "I don't know," and then I'll say that, and they'll be like, "Actually,"
Right.
Yeah.
That does remind me, like, in the movie theater, I was, like, a manager for a point, so I would be, like, closing. It would just be me, 20 years old, the manager, and then the door guy who's, like, a 16-year-old
Yeah, that was
boy.
the same with my job.
Yeah, and it was just, like, us closing up the theater, and there was, like, a guy asleep in the theater, and we just had to wake him up. Like, sir, you need to leave. And then, like, it was luckily, like, this old man who was just like, and just, like, ran out. Like,
He
but I'm
ran.
like, that could have been scary.
It's like time for cardio.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was scary because it's like you said, it's like if that's the last cinema letting out and it's you and one other person.
Yeah, and like what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah, I told this story on here before, but I'll just make it brief. Where a guy like got into the ceiling and lived there for a while and spied on my manager who was like, she was like 19.
That's
and
not
then,
real.
and,
No.
Yeah, and then
What?
and then one day he dropped down into her office and opened the safe and took all the money out. And then you can only get into that office through if you have the key. And so we were staying there, and then he just came walking out, and we were like, what? And he's like, I thought that was the bathroom. And then he just left with a bag of money.
holy shit.
And that's the thing, like in any like starting job like that, like retail or movie theater, like you always know shit's going down, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Like retail, they were very big on like pushing like just use body language. Like if somebody's walking out of the store with something, but you're like, sir, please come this way.
Yeah.
And they would show you these like really exaggerated arm movements that people will just naturally follow you. And I'm like, I'm 16.
Yeah.
This is Urban Outfitters.
Do I want a criminal to follow me?
No.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing. You're like, I also don't care enough
care.
for this multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't care if Mr. Urban Outfitters loses $45.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
kidding. Mr. Urban Outfitters, that guy.
Yeah.
I also think a lot of their designs they didn't get permission to use.
Totally.
So they deserve it.
Exactly.
to
I'm
be
like, you
robbed.
stole, people are going to steal from you. That's
Exactly. You didn't get permission for that Uma Thurman Pulp Fiction shirt.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
I do love all the
so
like
true.
codes that they teach you too. I don't know if you guys worked retail, but like we had all these, everybody has walkie-talkies, and I'd be working in the fitting rooms, and it would just be, they never put limits at Urban Outfitters on how much you can take in,
Oh, it's not
and
fair.
people are trash. And they'll just
my
hand you a
God.
huge pile of clothes. So it was just me by myself, like speed folding everything. And they tell you that, like, when people give you clothes that they're going to take into the fitting rooms, what you're doing is you're supposed to romance the clothes. That's what they called it. So you just feel up the clothes and,
Like in front of the customer?
yeah, you take their clothes from them and you start counting. You're like, okay, you have 3 items. And then you just kind of do, like, a weird down the front of the shirt thing because people will shove other shirts into the sleeves of shirts.
Oh,
I thought it was
that's
like
a
sales,
selling mechanism.
No.
Buy
You
this
want
shirt
this?
that I'm touching.
Yeah.
And then if you find stuff, you're like, oh, 3 items, you actually have 7. And then you just give them the clothes, put them in the fitting rooms, and then in your walkie-talkie, you're just super subtle. You go, Nick to Fits.
Yeah.
So if you ever hear in Urban Outfitters,
Nick to Fits?
Nick to Fits, someone's trying to steal stuff.
It's because, like, if you nick something, you're
Industries.
stealing it, maybe.
Exactly.
Nick.
Yeah.
I like that.
Unless it's a British person who's stealing, and then they'll know exactly what a code means.
Yeah. And then they'll just run.
Oh, man. What about you when you worked at a movie theater? Did you have any sort of...
It was like my first taste of power, even though I wasn't a manager, but
Yeah.
I was like living for it. Like
Yes.
you would see kids come in and you know that they're like 11 or 12, or maybe they are 13, but I'm going to ID you.
Yeah.
And then, tell
Yeah.
them in front of like all their friends that they can't go in.
Oh, yeah.
And then I remember this, like, this one group of kids, like their mom was there. And I was like, are you going to the movie with them? And she was like, no. And I was like, well, they can't go then. You either
Yeah.
have to be with them or they need to be this age. And she was like, well, are you serious? And I'm like, yes, I am.
Yeah.
I am deadly serious, man. And then later on, it wasn't even my job. So like if you're on the till, you're not on floor.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go and check in the movie theaters. But I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm checking that movie
My
theater.
personal
Yes.
mission now.
And I'm going to wait until they've seen enough of it that they're going to be really mad that they missed the rest. And that if they go into the movie that they originally paid to see, they're not going to get what's going on. So it was like,
new level of pettiness.
it was fabulous. It was like 20 minutes before, I think it was Bad Words with Jason Bateman.
Whoa, the
which is
spelling
like
bee movie.
not going to ruin
Yeah.
any kid, not turning any kids into serial killers. But I
the
went in
principle
20
of it.
minutes before it ended. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like pulled this
so
kid out. I was like,
funny.
excuse me, sir. And this 11-year-old boy just like, yes. I was like, you can't be in here. You can't watch this. And he was like, come on, it's almost over. And I was like, nope, you're coming with me right now. And he was like, okay. And then he walked so slowly backwards out of the
watching-
theater.
watching
God, you're
Still watching it.
savage.
And I was like, get out of there.
There.
Go
Yeah.
back to Fern Gully.
He was
I don't know
pissed
why I
and
use
his
that
mom
as
was
an
pissed.
example.
Great. Yeah, parents would get
Loved
so
it.
mad that it's just like, what? I can't just like leave my kids with you for 2 hours?
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you. I'm not a
They're
babysitter.
7 and 8. They're so annoying.
Yeah.
I remember these kids came in and their parents dropped them off, and there was 4 of them, and they were the only kids in the theater, and they made a mess of the entire theater.
Oh.
And then I had to clean it, but I went and told their dad after. I'm like, just so you know, they made such a mess. He's like, I don't care.
Aw.
That's
like,
why
"This
they're
is why."
like that.
Rude.
Your kids
Can't.
suck.
Yeah, your kids suck, and so do you,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
They suck because you suck so much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you say "sir" at the end of anything,
Yeah,
you can
yeah. It
just
sounds
say
professional.
whatever you want to them. Yeah.
Oh man, I was genuinely afraid for my life at that job a lot of times because I had to kick people out, and usually they're older than me. And sometimes I worked there when I was like in 10th grade, and I had to kick out people who went to my school who were in 12th grade. It's like, this shouldn't be happening.
That's the
God.
worst.
I'm really gonna get it on
Yeah.
Monday. You know, these kids hotboxed the theater once. That was great. Caught some
Oh,
people
no.
doing intercourse in there before.
Ooh.
The technical term.
She's right.
Yeah, anytime anybody wanted to, like, they would buy a combo, but they didn't want the drinks, but they were like, yeah, we'll just take the cups. And I'm like, yeah, you will, and I will come and check up on you.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I love rules. I think I've established that.
I worked at a theater in Kamloops, so very small town people, and you would always find cups of people's spit from Chew.
Oh,
What?
Oh my God, constantly.
Is this a small town thing?
Everybody chews tobacco in Kamloops.
yeah, that's
Is
probably
Kamloops
true.
a 1960s baseball movie?
Really?
What?
You found cups of chew at Yuck Yucks?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
so gross.
It's like, it's such a gross thing because you constantly have to spit. I'm like, why would you want that? I
Yeah.
don't get it.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
no.
just like the most disgusting
isn't
looking
tea.
liquid.
I hope all those people die alone. Like you
Yeah.
can't. Who are you dating?
Yeah.
Who wants that?
Yeah.
Worse than
What?
cigarettes.
Yeah, cigarettes
is.
is like, at least I'm like, ooh, like
Oh,
mysterious.
James Dean, cool.
Yeah, sure,
yeah.
yeah, I have all that ingrained
Really
teen
looks
like
cool.
you're cooler than me.
It does
but
look cool.
Nobody thinks
But-
that with chewing tobacco.
The weird thing about smoking is that I think people who smoke don't realize what they smell like anymore because I think it dulls that or something. And I hate smelling like cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
You know? It's funny, in LA, almost everybody smokes, and here, almost no one smokes.
I thought, well, I haven't really been to LA very much, but I'm from Deep Cove and North Van,
Yep.
and absolutely nobody smoked there. So
Yeah.
like now living in Vancouver and being around comics
feel
all
like-
the time, I'm like,
Yeah.
everybody smokes, but everybody else is like, Rachel, nobody
Yeah.
smokes.
I think
No,
a lot
it's
of
everybody.
comedians smoke.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I almost picked up smoking when I started comedy because when you start, you're going to open mics and everybody watches their friends.
Yeah.
And then when their friends are done, they go outside and they smoke.
Yeah.
So nobody saw me for like a year and I had no friends. I was like, I'm just going to take up
Wow.
smoking to get friends.
Yeah.
Well, there's this comedian from Philadelphia named Big J. Okerson, and he was talking about when he moved to New York, he picked up smoking so that he could stand outside and talk to Dave Attell.
Yes.
He's like, I gotta
God.
get into this. I gotta learn how to do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Still
like-
smokes 20 years later. He got into it. Yeah.
That's like Rachel does that in an episode of Friends.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. She kind of fakes it and then like it
Oh
gets-
yeah, with the
at the
fashion people.
company. Yeah, at Ralph Lauren. Yeah.
Cool. That's cool. I know that reference. Do you two have any phobias? Like I get pretty fucked up with authority figures. Like at the border, even if I've never done anything that I could really get in trouble for, but I'm still like, oh shit, you know, like
I feel that at the
uncomfortable.
border for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Even I've never done anything. So does my mom. Like,
Really?
yeah, we'll be going through the border, and she always drinks too much coffee. So then she really has to pee, and there's never any bathrooms there. And then always like right before it's our turn, she's like, "What if some kids broke into our car, smoked their drugs in our car, and then left them in here?" And she's always convinced that happened. I'm like, "Mom, that didn't
God.
happen."
That seems like something that would happen in Deep Cove. From the
Yeah,
opposite.
I'm like,
Yeah,
no.
I wonder what that stems from. I wonder why she's worried about that.
I don't know. I think she's just a big worrier. I have that too.
Yeah?
I'm a big worrier, but not about kids breaking into my car and smoking their drugs.
Your worry is about kids seeing a full movie that they didn't pay for.
Yeah, I can't
That's your
have that.
phobia.
I cannot have that.
I love that. The justice of it. I really respect that.
Yep.
Because I don't like being
love
lied
rules.
to or taken for a ride.
No. And I love making other people sad.
That's not a phobia.
True.
That's just it's more of a hobby.
Joy.
Yeah.
Joy out of it.
Yeah.
I do have one phobia. I learned what it was called, and because you always think you're normal until you find out that nobody else is like that, and then you're like, oh, I thought everybody had this. But I learned the name for it, and then it made it worse, and then I just purposely forgot what it was called. So I don't know what the phobia is called, but it's when there's lots of small holes close together.
Okay.
Don't tell me what it is.
No.
I've
But
heard of that.
I have
hate it.
that. It's a texture thing. It's disgusting. Like certain sea creatures will have like that
Yes,
weird.
yeah, and
It's so
coral
goddamn
and-
disgusting.
And in the
what?
sand, when you can see that there's like things in the sand, even like it'll go as far as like a group of straws being
Yes.
close.
Really?
the
Yeah.
texture of it's fucking horrible.
I hate it.
And then I saw there was a photo of someone who had kneeled on peas.
Oh my god, yeah,
Right?
it was on the internet, right? That was viral for it wasn't viral, but it was like that was
It's-
the clickbait of like a month, and
Yeah.
I had to stay away from the
It's
internet
so
because I was gonna throw up every
goddamn
time.
disgusting.
I think it's almost like
Wow.
associated with like a fear of disease too, maybe.
maybe.
Like I just feel like
The
that might
texture
be
of
what it
it,
is.
I'll
But
s-
I remember that photo, and
Yeah.
I like had nightmares about this for a year.
Wow. Okay.
Your turn, Gina.
Your turn, Gina.
This better be
We're all
good.
hyped up now.
I guess like I was gonna say seems irrational, but mine's really irrational. Like I really scared of being buried alive.
Oh, I get that. I'm afraid of
Sure,
drowning,
yeah.
which is like kind of similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Buried
like,
alive. I wonder, like, when did you first have a thought of that happening?
I'm not sure.
Kill
I read.
Bill?
Oh yeah, Kill Bill is probably a good one. And I read this like. I really like trashy mystery novels, and there was like
Really?
this mystery novel. Yeah, they're just like easy to read. I'm like, I can't read Game of Thrones. It's too it's too hard. But you know,
I'm not at that reading level yet.
yeah, exactly. Give me like 100-page mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was this one where the killer like buried people alive. He didn't kill them. He buried them alive.
Wow.
And yeah, and maybe that was when I started thinking about it, but it really freaks me out the more I think about it, and I don't know why I think about it a lot. But I'm just like, when I die, I'm like, cremate me. I don't want to be like accidentally
yeah.
like you think I'm dead, but I'm not.
You're like,
Bury
I'm not
me with a
afraid
phone.
Of, yeah.
Yeah.
Not afraid of cremation if that's how I go.
Yeah.
No,
Burn
it's
me
fine.
alive.
Burn me alive.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine. Keep that dirt away from me.
Yeah, because in that scenario, we are assuming you're alive. So whatever they do to you,
Exactly.
it's like you're
I
getting
will be
burned
burned
alive, or
but
you're
that's
getting
better.
buried alive.
I actually do think that's less scary for some reason.
I know, yeah. It'll
Yeah,
be
it
quicker,
is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think,
Well,
but
that's
maybe not even.
The thing about being buried alive is like you don't know. I'm like, I don't know what happens. Like you're either crushed from the weight of the dirt, or you're like starving to death because the coffin doesn't.
you run out
crush.
of
I love
oxygen.
that you thought this through so much. Because I just pictured you died because your lungs fill with dirt.
That could happen too. Suffocation.
I thought it was just you run out of oxygen, but now, okay. When you first said this,
know.
I was like, now I think I'm also scared of being alive, but now I don't think so. Now I think I'm scared of getting burned alive
Oh,
because I think running out of oxygen, don't you just kind of like pass out?
Well,
then you're dead?
ironically,
Maybe.
a good way to put out a fire if you're on fire is with dirt. So
Right.
that's
Bury yourself alive,
all.
and then
Yeah.
Oh,
you're still
man,
alive.
Back
I
to
don't
that.
know.
You know? There was I remember when I was in elementary school, I read this. I got super into like Egyptian culture and like mummies and stuff. And I remember that there was like this tradition where if you've decided that it's time for you to die, you can go and kind of mummify yourself. And every day you'd be in there in this pose and you'd ring this bell so they know you're still alive. And then when it stops ringing, it's like, oh, I guess he's dead.
Right. That was part of in this.
Is that horrifying enough, Alexi? Sorry, go on.
That was part of in that mystery novel. There was something, I don't know, I read it when I was in high school, but there was something to do with a bell. They would
Yeah.
like tie a string on their pinky. And I was like, I'm not really sure.
Did the people make it out? I need to know.
Yeah,
Where are they now?
they made it out. You know, there's this one author, the librarian at my high school recommended her. She's like, she puts a book out every summer. Her name is Mary Higgins Clark.
Yes.
Yeah, she's the queen of
She does.
suspense. And it's just all of the main characters are these women, like career women.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was just like this woman who moved back to her small town, and it's always that.
Oh, cool.
It's like the Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
They've made Hallmark movies based on these books.
Really?
I want to clarify. I made it seem like I've read these books. I haven't. I just
just
worked
know
at the
her.
library,
Oh.
and I know anyone who puts out a book a year. I'm like, James Patterson. You
Yeah,
don't need
yeah.
four shelves.
Exactly.
I like that
Daniel
idea of you
Steele.
going, yes, if you hear something you've heard of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like she has so
her.
many books.
Yes. Yeah.
I've read the backs of so many of her books. That's all I
Yeah.
would do at that job.
Yeah.
would just read blurbs.
I remember, I can't can't remember who it was. Someone did this tweet about how educated they are, and they're like, "I've watched the first 8 minutes of several documentaries."
I got the gist.
Yes.
That's great. Aside from movie theaters, do you guys have any other bad day jobs that you had?
Oh, the library. Well, it was.
Oh my God, you must have so many weird people coming in there.
So many. It was mostly a great job, but like there was one gentleman that we affectionately referred to as Friday Night Porn Guy. Because you can just bring your own laptop and use the library's Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
or you can use the library's computers and use their Wi-Fi. And the librarians we don't step in. We're like, oh yeah, you do you, man.
You do
and
you.
we were like, he's nice. He cleans up after himself. It's just don't walk behind him.
Yeah, the place is
It's
actually
fine.
cleaner after he's there.
He sterilizes the whole thing. There was one guy who also showed up more than every Friday. He was there almost every single day until closing. He would always wear the same gray plaid, and he always looked very forlorn.
Oh.
I think I walked past him once, and he was looking at alt-right websites and listening to country music. So him I maybe stayed away from.
Yeah.
But it was a fun job, though.
Yeah. By the way, if you're looking at alt-right website, it's just redundant that you're also listening to country music.
Yes. Like, we get it.
Yeah.
I feel like people go to the library to be weird.
Yeah.
You know, there's that
Right.
one downtown, that library, and it's a prison cafeteria. It's just so bizarre, and it's so huge, and it was the set of a Schwarzenegger movie where he's supposed to be in space or something.
Oh.
Called The Sixth Day.
It's a cool building.
It is
It
a cool
is, yeah.
building, and it's just full of the strangest activities.
It is.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's the one place you can go if you're just a weird outlier of society.
Yeah.
You can go there and feel like
Yeah.
a person, and you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, I'm in it. I'm one of
Right.
these people.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre.
I like that you can still rent CDs there. That seems like pretty
Oh,
old-fashioned.
That was the best when, before there was Apple Music or Spotify or anything like that, I would rent 40 CDs from the library because
Yeah.
they had everything.
Yeah.
And then I would just put it on my laptop and I just had all this free music.
Right.
man.
That was
The
how we
original
used to get
Spotify.
music. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Renting CDs.
Yeah.
And you can still you get taped books there, and they smell bad.
Yeah, I
which
believe
surprises me because you'd think they were for people who are visually impaired, and their sense of smell would be stronger.
Right,
So then
right.
everything would be cleaner.
Maybe they like it. It's kind of like how, a dog tries to smell people's feet all the time.
Yeah, maybe they just like stinky smells.
That was a dumb thing I just said. Sorry about that. Do you two believe in ghosts? Have you had a ghost experience?
I haven't had an experience.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really
Yeah.
believe in them.
Do you want to?
I want to believe.
I want to.
Yeah, I just think so many people have stories. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird that everybody would be lying.
Yeah.
But then everybody does suck, so maybe we are.
true.
Oh, I
That's
just
true.
moved into a place and my roommate met someone who used to live in our unit.
Whoa.
And she said that they thought it was haunted. It's like a heritage house, and they were like, yeah, there was this weird thing around 2 p.m. If we were in the apartment for more than a couple hours, we'd get headaches.
Whoa.
And they thought that was something to do with paranormal
It's just
stuff.
carbon monoxide poisoning.
It was. It literally was.
They're slowly
there
dying.
was a gas leak.
Yeah.
Because
The ghost did it, though.
Yeah, because when we moved in, there's a brand new gas stove and a
that's so
brand
funny.
new carbon monoxide detector, and then so she met those people, and we're like, oh, that makes sense. There was
Yeah.
a gas leak.
I
Yeah,
heard that carbon monoxide poisoning makes you paranoid as well. A friend of mine at work had that, and she was really scared about natural disasters, and her roommate was getting really scared about her. And
Oh,
then,
no.
And then they were kind of against each other for months until they realized there was a gas leak, and they're like, oh, we're fine.
Holy shit.
The gas leak came between them.
You did.
It's tough on friendships, those gas leaks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. How do you even know if there's a gas leak?
You get a detector, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't have one of
you
those.
should get a detector, I guess. Yeah, and then usually you could smell it.
Man, the other day at my apartment, someone's alarm was going off, and I could smell smoke. And then I walked past it, and then I was like, "What if they're unconscious or asleep or not there or something?"
Right.
So I wasn't sure what to do.
Yeah.
And then right then the door flew open, and it was this girl in a wheelchair, and she's like, "I'm burning my food, and I can't Like she was like too low to the ground to
Oh
like.
no!
Yeah. So I went in there and helped her, and it didn't burn down. But what if I had to like kick the door open or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good that she came out.
Yeah.
Or else you're just like, maybe I'll just leave and let it all burn down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do?
My motivation is just selfish. It's like, I don't want my stuff getting burned. Kick open their door.
Yeah.
If your place was being burned and you could grab one item, what would it be? I think for me, it'd be my laptop.
Yeah, probably laptop. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Your CDs from the library, maybe.
Yeah, I do have some unreturned library books that I should bring back. But if you just never bring them back, then they're not going to find you. You still get to go back there.
Oh, that's true.
But I want to go back so bad.
Yeah.
I was like thinking, I'm like, I have a lot of DVDs.
Yeah, me
and
too.
I tried to like,
Yeah.
I tried when I moved, I tried to like, I'll get rid of some of them, and I still have like 100.
Oh, I have so many too.
Yeah, and then I
Yeah.
was like, are these like sentimental? I was like, maybe I would grab the OC box
Oh,
set.
nice, nice.
Even though it's fully replaceable.
I don't know. I think people who buy that keep it.
Yeah.
So at thrift stores,
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's true.
It's a good show.
I feel like you get like people who have big DVD collections, their collections like say something about you and like say
yeah.
like what you like and who you are.
Yeah.
But I have like a small to medium sized collection, and every time people come over, I'm embarrassed because it does not
I've seen it.
represent me well. It's like
It just represents-
So
seasons
random.
1 to 6 of Supernatural, all of Entourage. I think the Hannah Montana movie, and then like all of Friday Night Lights. And I'm like, this is not who I am as a person. I need you all to know that.
That's great. You know what's funny is this is so lame, but I love audio commentary, so I love DVDs because I want to learn more about the movie I just
you want
watched.
those special
And
features.
Exactly. And so my friend Steve, he was like, I'm getting rid of the hard copies of all my things. And I was like, I will take them. So I have his collection and my collection. But he was in a band that toured for years, and so he'd just buy anything. And so I have every season of Friends on DVD, which is how I got that
Nice.
sweet Jennifer Aniston reference about 10 minutes
Yes.
ago.
I was behind on
there's
that one.
so much stuff I would never watch, like Baraka or things like
Right.
that don't really represent me too. But now I do a thing where every time I leave my place, I try and bring 10 DVDs to the trade-in place by my place.
yeah.
Oh,
So that guy sees me like every 2 days.
So
New
funny.
stuff he doesn't want.
He definitely thinks you're stealing these from
Yeah,
somewhere.
from him, and then
Yeah.
selling them back to him. It's a great pyramid scheme, actually. Yeah. But I remember, because my girlfriend, she's trying to get rid of her DVDs too, and she tried to bring all the seasons of Dexter to, and I'm like, A, I don't know why you get rid of that, great show, and then B, the pawn shop people were like, we have so much of this, we don't want that.
Yeah.
Everyone just
Everyone
unloading
had
their
it.
Dexter collection for some reason. They all hate the ending.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do this to myself again. Yeah, I love that's another great place to go hang out for people to just be weird, I think, is like pawn shops.
Yeah, 100%. Or the place that's at the bottom of, it's like right around the corner from here at Clark and Powell-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to the like film set sales?
No. That
You
sounds
gotta
amazing.
go.
What do
It's
they have?
insane. It's a gigantic warehouse where they're selling, and it's all priced to sell because they get so much of it all the time. They're selling everything that they've used in like Vancouver film sets for film and TV and commercials and stuff. And it's all like,
Go.
yeah, it's amazing. It's all vintage furniture and it's all really dope.
Wow.
And then just like weird, like thousands of like typewriters and weird
right.
coasters
Weird
and
props.
and just bizarre stuff. And there's like one huge like plastic Sharpay. Those dogs, those like wrinkled
Oh.
dogs. It's just like a flat
What?
plastic
I want it.
picture of a giant Sharpay. It's very bizarre. It's full of weird stuff, but
Wonder what movie that's from.
Yeah.
Probably something in your DVD collection.
yeah,
Something with talking dogs.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes, this third Scooby-Doo installment that just
Yeah.
never came up for some reason.
I actually
Yeah.
think it might be from that like movie Cats and Dogs, or wait, what was that one with the spy dogs? Cats and Dogs.
There was Cats and Dogs.
Cats and Dogs
They
was
were
Uma
they
Thurman,
spies in
wasn't
that
it?
one?
Yeah, they were
I don't remember.
spies.
Okay, if they were
I think.
spies in Cats and Dogs, then I think it's from.
Yeah.
Did you say you worked at Urban Outfitters?
No,
I
Rachel
did.
did.
You did?
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, like the Granville Street one.
Yeah. back
wow.
before they had the kits one and before it had expanded. So
Like-
it had like the same amount of stock, but just in
God.
like
I was gonna
no
say because
space.
there's that side room that just permanently has a lock on it, and it's like that's a bad sign for theft. If one of the doors has like industrial sized chain locks on it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh my god.
That was like my work. I hated that job so much. It was,
Yeah.
and the manager at the time, looked like a young hipster Snape. And he was so scary.
Really?
And then I quit. That was one of the jobs the only job I've ever like quit the day before I had to like go or quit like as I was supposed to be
You didn't
at
give 2
work.
weeks
I didn't
kind
give
of
notice. I was like, this is horrible.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Gotta get out.
Gotta get out.
This friend of mine from high school, he used to work at Earl's, and he just stopped showing up for shifts.
Oh my god.
Just stopped answering his phone when they'd call, and then but he still had a paycheck to pick up, and then he was like to his friend who worked there, like, hey, pick up my paycheck, and they're like, no, Blake can come get it himself.
Yeah.
And then so he eventually months later went in all sheepishly and picked it up, and they're like, do you want to work on Monday? And he's like, yeah.
Whoa.
And just like swept it under the rug. Yeah. He also, when I was a little kid, he's my friend's older brother. He rented Alien on DVD or Blu-ray and just never returned it. And they were calling him all the time, asking for him to return it.
Yeah.
And one time he said, someone called and they're like, hey Blake, how's it going? And he's like, good, yeah. And he didn't know who it was. And they're like, what are you up to? He's like, oh, nothing. What are you up to? And he's like, love to watch Alien on Blu-ray, but you won't return it. Like Trojan horsed him. He's like, oh, okay, I'll bring it back. Sorry. See, that's someone who takes their job beyond the call of duty. Someone like you, really. I
They're
love
like, I'm
that.
gonna get this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a personal
we need
mission.
that copy of Alien.
Do you guys like scary movies, like horror movies and stuff?
No.
I do.
Yeah.
I do, but I'm not like cool though. I'm scared this is gonna go to an Are You Cool place where it's like,
No,
what's your
it's not.
favorite one? And I'm gonna be like, I don't.
You're a horror
I'll be like,
cinephile.
You're like
ones
Friday Night Lights.
where everybody died. Seasons 1 to 6 are Supernatural.
Scared the shit out of me.
Season 1 was the scariest season by far. I'll say it.
Yeah, I get like really scared watching stuff, and so like even like if I like watch the show Pretty Little Liars and I like watch it before bed, it's like about like these girls being like cyberbullied, but I was always like, this is scary. Like,
Throughout that show, I was constantly being like, call the FBI.
yeah,
Like,
they never
how-
called the
they
police.
never called
It was
the police.
insane.
They're like, no, then they're gonna find out that I kissed one man who
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like
Oh,
older
you
than
can't.
20, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you guys are gonna die. Every one of you is gonna die.
yeah.
Have you ever been at a movie and somebody heckles a movie and it gets a laugh?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Like what?
I'm sure. The other week, I don't know. I went to see Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
And the trailer for some shitty movie was before it, and then this guy just yells "junk." That was pretty good.
That's a good heckle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now
The directors in the audience like, hey.
And now me and my brother, like, we go to movies together. We were at that movie, and then we just went to see like Hustlers, and then like another trailer went on, and I just went junk, and like, it's just like our joke now.
What about you?
I don't remember exactly what movie it is, but I remember just like sitting there being like, oh, there's rules. You can't just but everybody else laughed. I'm the biggest buzzkill. That's like
I love
my
it.
whole
You
thing.
just love the rules.
Dude, I'm gonna get it tattooed. That's gonna be my first tattoo. Is I love rules.
I
my
love
God.
rules.
Yeah.
That's
I love
perfect.
that. I like Neil Brennan has this bit about how he can't relax at a concert or an event. He'll be like, I wonder what the fire deputy would have to say about this. It's a little too crowded in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I remember me and my friend went and saw Snakes on a Plane, and I was like, hey, yell more like Samuel L. Action. And she did. Standing ovation.
Oh, that's
Totally
awesome.
worked. So I was like, I should have said it myself.
Yeah.
That could have been my standing O.
Man.
I'm just giving it away. Yeah.
And you'll have that regret till you die.
Yeah. Hopefully I'm burned alive. And that's a good place to end it. Do you two have anything coming up show-wise?
Oh, I run a monthly show at Spade on Commercial Drive called Co-Write Comedy, and the next one's October 4th.
Awesome.
This might air after that. I don't know when this will air.
Before that.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm running a show called Comedy Bucket And
Yeah.
the next one is November 9th. It's like where stand-ups pull things out of a bucket and they don't have any material prepared. It's super fun.
Oh,
so
awesome.
fun.
Yeah. And
That's
we both run an open mic
Oh,
together.
right. That is true.
Every Monday at the Kino Cafe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what Lauren said. Is that Kino, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
It is fun.
Yeah. We like
Great.
it.
What's it called?
Kino
The
Comedy
Kino,
Open
yeah.
mic.
Okay.
Clean.
Really?
Yep.
Awesome. That's
Yes. Thank you.
great. All right. All right, you two. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Comedy Option Podcast. I've been your host, Kevy. Thank you to Gina Harms and Rachel Schaefer. Make sure to follow them on all their social media. Make sure to follow us on all our social media at Comedy Here Often on all platforms. Check in with you next week.